So only yeah, already started a thing. So okay. So I will talk about other things later. So we discussed about a virtualization. So important means I told everything in one way. So that's like what is virtualization? That is important. Okay. So already I given this statement earlier. So in a virtualization manner, right? So here it is. What is a virtualization? Create a software based or a virtual representation of applications and servers, storage, network to reduce IT expenses while boosting efficiency and agility. This is a just for understanding, like so one of the statement. There may be different type of statements are there, so don't worry about it. As we recognize like what is a virtualization kind of stuff, when you heard something like a virtualization, few things comes under our mind. So your first one is virtual machines. Okay, practically in what for understanding. Okay, so first thing when you is in remember recollect the information like a what is the virtualization? That is a yeah virtual machine, virtual hard disk. Okay, virtual NICs like this. So these are virtual representing something, right? So right is so which is physical hardware is not existing. Physical hardware is not there. Okay, this is a completely virtual part. So I talked about a virtual machine. Same thing like you can go to the virtual hardware, virtual hard disk, or virtual NICs, virtual applications. Okay, virtual applications also there, but which is frequently we don't see that kind of stuff here. Okay, so we use okay, one physical machine, a physical machine and virtual machine both are same, like physical hard disk and virtual hard disk both are we can able to store the data. In both we can able to store the data. Okay, so physical means sorry virtual things like virtual hardwares sorry virtual machines or virtual hard disk or virtual NICs whatever it is. So virtual things utilize your hardware, physical hardware, utilize your physical hardware but not attached or not binded to your physical resources. Okay, and we can move our virtual things from one place to another places. So different type of virtualizations are there. So server virtualization, desktop virtualization, application virtualization, storage virtualization, network virtualization, user state virtualization, presentation virtualization. At least five remember in out of these virtualization: server virtualization, desktop virtualization, application virtualization, network and storage. My suggestion is first tell about server virtualization, storage and network, and then desktop and application and like this. Okay, so here it is. First of all, server virtualization kind of stuff. Okay, server virtualization kind of stuff. What is a server virtualization? In a single server, we can able to run multiple virtual machines. Okay, so to do that one, so when you say server virtualization, you have a server hardware. On the server hardware we install a hypervisors. So different type of hypervisor is there. Hypervisor is just like an operating system which is interacts with your hardware and provide a virtualization platform, and we can create and run the virtual machines on the hypervisor platforms. Different organizations providing different type of virtualization things. Microsoft Hyper-V, okay, like that. Okay, Microsoft Hyper-V. Okay, so this is a new available Hyper-V server 2019. VMware vSphere, VMware related vSphere ESXi. vSphere is a product. ESXi is a hypervisor platform. Xen server, Citrix is an organization. Xen server is a hypervisor product, like a server operating system. Proximox is a open source. Okay, it is a open source kernel, KVM and QEMU based. Okay, KVM and QEMU based Linux based actual Linux based kernel virtualization kind of stuff. Okay, so that is provided by from the Proximox and Red Hat. Proximox usually like it is a open source. Anybody can directly download a Proximox VE from the internet. It is more flexible and more widely using virtualization platform. One of the widely used virtualization platform. This Red Hat is also providing Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization. So certain hypervisors comes with your operating system as a feature or a role. But these are not applications directly we cannot able to download from the internet or internet. Okay, like this. Hyper-V is one of the virtualization platform. Also comes with your operating systems like Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10 Pro or enterprises. Okay, like that. So next one is also it is comes with your Windows servers, Windows 2008 x64. Okay, 64-bit 2008 onwards it is available. 2008 R2, 2012 12 R2, 16 and 19. So better view from this 2009 12 R2, 16 and 19. The better development is compared to World 1. Okay. Next. Red Hat in Enterprise Linux 6 and Enterprise Linux 7. So there is a inbuilt platform is like a KVM and QEMU. So we can able to get it. As a feature, as a role, or as an inbuilt feature like this in the within the operating system, is you can run your operating system and also you can run a virtual machines. Okay. Okay. We can run with the operating system, and it is a also concerned a type 1 virtualization kind of stuff, bare metal virtualization kind of stuff. So I think I didn't written here, but it is maybe somewhere I've written. I written in a picture, I think. Okay. So these things are both are things are comes under type 1 virtualization only, but it is directly core hypervisor server. This is along with your operating system. Okay. Next one is hypervisors based on an application type. Based on a application wise, it means, for example, I'm a Windows 10 home edition, so I don't get a Hyper-V in my system, right? So how to do? So I have to use for my system is I have to install an application. So VMware Workstation, VirtualBox, Microsoft Virtual PCs, which is a very old one nowadays. It is the won't work in your Windows 8 and Windows 10. Okay, so VMware Workstation, VirtualBox kind of stuff to run hypervisor application. We require a OS. Okay, I'm modern. It's a type 2 virtualizations. These are a type 1 virtualizations. Server virtualization is a type 1 virtualization, and this is a type 2 virtualization, means you use an application to get a virtualization environment. So you have a PC, you have an operating system, you install an application. Using an application, you can create a virtual machine. You can install a OS in the virtual machines. Okay. And this is also a small part of this part. We can also comes under desktop virtualization, but desktop virtualization definition is very big one. So whatsoever it is, okay, it is also comes under desktop virtualization. So here it is I've written. So if you have a hypervisor servers, so how to access by admin to create a virtual machine and managing kind of stuff. Every server having a client. So either it is a web client or client softwares, or maybe like that. Okay. So if you say Hyper-V has a client software and as well as a web clients also available. Okay. So Microsoft Hyper-V remote management, PowerShell, Windows admin centers also there. Okay, like this. So 1 second. Okay, so if you have a virtual machine, then how to access a virtual machine? So different type of protocols we use it: SSH, Telnet, RDP, PowerShell, PuTTY, VNC, like this. Different type of protocols or tools. Means PuTTY is an application. Real VNC is an application. Okay. So PowerShell is like a command line tool. Okay. SSH and Telnets are protocol with connected tools, CLI based. Okay. RDP is a remote desktop protocol. So these are things which you okay you should to connect. So this is all I'm talking about a hypervisor, type 1 virtualization, type 2 virtualization, how to access remotely. The next one is we discussed about a storage for a normal purpose only, but out of that one I discussed about a storage types: DAS, NAS, SAN kind of stuff, guys. NAS and SAN is a centralized storages. DAS is a directly attached storages, and also different type of disk. Also we discussed it, and up to SSD, I think we discussed it. So because of this discussion, this NAS and SAN is not directly attached to your system. It is centrally, but still you are storing a data. You have a hard disk, local hard disk. You store a data in it. It is attached, and we can think it is a physical. But you're storing a data somewhere else, not in your local. But you feel you are storing in local only. So thing is you are virtually storing in somewhere else. So that's why these concepts comes under storage virtualization. So what is the first one? Server virtualizations. This is comes under storage virtualization, and also covers storage part. So that's why I told this one. Okay. In the storage virtualizations, different physical devices are there, and there is a virtual kind of things are there. So out of that, so virtual hard disk is the main concept of storage virtualization. Of course, SAN and NAS, virtual SAN is also there. Okay, even though there are a physically existing even though there are a physical existing for accessing for a client, it is not a physical one. It is directly somewhere it is storing, right? Okay, like a RAID and LVM. So physically disks are combined together. Virtually they are combined together and become a large disk space or like that. Okay, so obviously it is also comes under that one. But very important to say is a virtual hard disk. Virtual hard disk is a hard disk. You can partition that hard disk. You can store the data in the hard disk. We can you can define a file system for that hard disk. Like that, how you utilize your physical hard disk, same utilization you can do it. You can attach a virtual hard disk. You can detach a virtual hard disk whenever you want. Okay, you can store a data in the virtual hard disk, but original it is stores in the physical hard disk. Virtual hard disk is a file. Virtual hard disk is a in the form of file in the physical hard disk only. Without a physical hard disk, no virtual hard disk. Different formats of virtual hard disk is there: VHD, VHDX, okay, VMDK, QCOW2, okay, VDI, like that. So different, maybe there is some more virtual hard disk things are there. As we know, as we are in the daily utilization, so we require this information. VHD, VHDX, VHDS, VHDA. These are Microsoft related formats. Okay, so VMware use VMDK. Okay, so we are discussing about a Microsoft related here. So VHD is a disk size is support up to 2 terabyte. VHDX disk size support more than 2 terabytes and up to 64 terabytes. when you are creating a virtual hard disk, so it will ask the format. You have to choose one of the format. It depends upon the required size. If it is a more than 2 terabyte, definitely you have to choose VHDX. If it is a disk is less than 2 terabytes, you can choose VHD or VHDX. Anything, no problem. Fixed disk and dynamically expanding disk. Fixed disk, when you create a virtual hard disk, that time only it occupies the size in the physical hard disk. Dynamically expanding disk will grows. Okay, so whenever you put a data inside a virtual hard disk, so the virtual hard disk size will be increases. Like you create a 10 GB hard disk, but fixed hard disk. In the particular drive in the physical hard disk, you create a 10 GB virtual hard disk. Fixed disk you are creating 10 GB. It occupies 10 GB starting only. How much data in the virtual hard disk? It does not mind about it. Okay, so it's just occupy the space. Dynamically expanding is not like that. So I created a dynamically expanding 10 GB disk. If I put a 5 GB inside, the size of the file is 5 GB only. If I put a 2 GB inside, it is size of the file is 2 GB only. Okay, so what is the data inside a virtual hard disk? That much size only it will occupy in the physical environment. Both are having their own advantage and disadvantages kind of stuff. In a dynamically expanding, irrespective of how much free space is available in your physical space, you can create that virtual hard disk. Fixed disk is not like that. You have to compulsory verify your local disk storage space, free space. Based on that only we can able to create it. Differencing disk is like a parent-child disk. So you create a parent disk is a main disk, and on the main disk you create a child disk. So what are the data in the parent disk will be shows and access from the child disk. If you modify or delete or your changes are added, anything happen to the child disk, nothing affect on your parent disk as well as other disk also. And last one we discussed about a snapshot. So what is a snapshot is like when you are using a virtual machine. Okay, so you configured certain thing like you install operating system, you install an application. Now your virtual machine is working good. Now you want to try something on this one. Maybe there is a problem may occur. So what we will do, we'll take a snapshot. We'll take a snapshot or a checkpoint. It depends upon the technology. Words are different. Okay, you create a snapshot. Okay. Okay, you create a snapshot on a virtual machine. So whenever you create a snapshot, so what are the data, what are the application files, everything will be in the parent disk, in the first disk, parent disk. Okay, and after the snapshot, whatever it is the data in the child disk. So something issues came up, like you install some application or you want to test some application. Because of that application, something problem is occur, you have to remove entire system. So instead of that, when you have a snapshot, it just simply we can revert it to the previous stage, working stage, and you can do it again. Okay, so that is the main advantage of this snapshot. Okay. So different type of images, we talk about a different type of images, their formats, and also we have a CD DVD kind of stuff. That is a physical CD DVD is there, right? So that is also we have a image formats. One of the format is .iso. I said one of the format, not every format. It is one of the format is ISO image format. So this is we discussed on a 25th. Okay, like this. Second one we discussed about Hyper-V on last Saturday morning, I think so. Most of the people are not came on a Saturday. You know, attendance is look like a bigger, but most of the people are left. No problem, guys. Why I'm telling again, because of I want to line up something. and I have to give a lot of idea. So again, virtualization, I told about a virtualization, mainly two virtualizations. So I told currently, so server virtualization, I discussed about a server virtualization, and already I told about few things about a server virtualization, like the hypervisor kind of stuff. So next we will see VMware vSphere also. Once again, how to create a virtual machine, VMware vSphere, network, storage related things. Okay. Storage virtualization also we discussed. And in a Hyper-V, we are also discussed about a network virtualization related one. Also we discussed in a Hyper-V. So desktop type 2 virtualization kind of stuff I told, but other things also I will tell about desktop virtualization, application virtualization, presentation virtualization kind of stuff. These two things I have to discuss. Okay. If I don't do it, also no problem, guys. Okay, that's not a big deal. Okay, if I don't do it, but whatever I taught, keep it in your mind and keep it you can able to tell. Okay, so I told about a server virtualization and what are the different servers we use in the market. Okay, and also different storage types, guys. Again, this is the storage types, storage devices, just the devices, virtual hard disk. That is also I discussed. That is also comes under storage only. Snapshots also comes under storage only. Okay. But guys, it is not a separate topics. Everything is without that one, it is impossible kind of stuff. Okay. So without something, okay, without something is not there. So like, storage is not there. Virtualization is very difficult to implement. Really virtualization. That's the importance of storage. Okay. Like that. Without a networking, you do nothing with anything. Without a concept of networking, we do nothing. So there is no use of what all this infrastructure. How much big infrastructure is there, but you don't have a networking connection is not there. So what you do with that one? Okay, just to simply to show kind of stuff only. Okay, so that's a simple thing. So what we discussed about is Hyper-V. Hyper-V is a Microsoft product. Hyper-V is a hypervisor, meaning it's a virtualization platform. It is a virtualization platform. Again, what is the virtualization platform or hypervisor? We can run virtual machines on it. We can create a virtual machines. We can run a virtual machines. So Hyper-V is introduced in 2012 onwards. It is available. It is introduced in 2008 only, 64-bit time only. It is introduced, but it is currently from Microsoft. It is available from the 12, 16, and 2019. 12 and 12 R2 is also there, guys. 2012 R2 is also there. Okay, so be careful, check it properly. Okay, it's a core Hyper-V, means no Windows Server operating system you will get it. Okay, no other applications, no other roles are there. Hyper-V is not application. Remember, guys, you can't download Hyper-V directly from the internet from Microsoft. Hyper-V as a role or a feature depends upon your system. So as a role, you can see Hyper-V Server 2008. 64-bit 2008 R2, 2012 12 R2, 16, 19, and 22 also will be there, but we didn't check it. Okay, this is we are not at checked it how it is look like. Next one is Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10 Pro, Enterprise 64-bit. Okay, so this is a feature, and already I told how to install a thing Hyper-V in Windows 10. If you want, you can check it also. And already I showed in a 2019 in our own server how to install a Hyper-V as a role. Okay, so compulsory 64-bit infrastructure is required. So then you will get Hyper-V platform, means virtualization platform you will get it, and Hyper-V manager also you will get it. In your PC you can run, you can create and run a virtual machines which utilize your PC resources. 32-bit in a 32-bit type of Windows 10 kind of stuff. Okay, you may get a 6 like this. So this is I'm talking in a Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10 Pro and Enterprises. not about servers here. So it is because it's 32-bit 64-bit. We have a both platforms are there 32-bit 64. In 64 you will get like this. In 32-bit you will get a manager, but you cannot you can't create and run a virtual machines in your PCs. Only thing is we can remote servers you can able to access. You can create a virtual machines in remote server. You can run the virtual machines in the remote server. Just monitoring or managing purpose only. This is useful. 32-bit type because you don't get a virtualization. To install a virtualization, so what are the requirement? Very simply, Hyper-V manager manage the Hyper-V servers or host and virtual machines and other things about it. Minimum requirements for a Windows 10 or Windows Server, it is 1.8 and a 1.4 gigahertz processor is required like this. This is 1.4 gigahertz minimum, and this is 1 gigahertz minimum requirement. 2 GB RAM and 32 GB free disk space is required. For Hyper-V, you want to use it. Whatever the system utilization is going on, plus 2 GB is required. It means my system is currently consuming 4 GB RAM. Okay, so I have 4 GB left, no problem. I have a 4 GB system. I have a total RAM is 4 GB. My almost 3 GB is consumed. 1 GB is available. So still need a 1 more GB for this one. Okay. So Hyper-V for Hyper-V at least plus 2 GB is required. So for example, if you take a minimum requirements 4 GB in a Windows Server and this one. Secondary address level translation means virtualization technology must be enabled and also verified in a systeminfo.exe. So VM this should be SSS kind of stuff. You will get it. Okay. Shielded virtual machines introduced in 2016. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so these are the things, and also I showed how to install a Hyper-V in it. There is a certain features of Hyper-V is there live migration or a live migration is also called a hot migration. When virtual machine is alive, so in a live condition only we can move virtual machine from one host to another host. Okay, so that is called a live migration. So in a vSphere it is called a vMotion. vMotion. Okay. So cold migration. So what is a cold migration? You can export from your system and import in a other host. It is like a copy paste kind of stuff or a cut paste kind of stuff. That is your wish. Okay. It is like a live migration is like a moving means like a cut paste type. Export and import is you copy from one place and paste into some other place, or you migrate or copy a virtual machine from one host to another host. Okay. And here in a virtual machine, Hyper-V, we discussed about how to create a virtual machine. In that one, two generations are there. In Hyper-V virtual machines, two generations. When you are creating a virtual machine, that time only you have to define which generation you want to use it. Generation 1 or generation 2. Any type of operating system, it can be a 32-bit, 64-bit, Windows, Linux, Unix, and BIOS based frameworks. Okay, operating system available in a CD-ROM or ISO image or through network or through floppy disk. We can able to install OS. Okay, so any type of support it will be there, like a 32-bit, 64-bit, BIOS firmware. Okay, from where any type of OS like Windows, Linux, Unix kind of operating systems. Okay, so operating system from physical disk, physical CD, DVD, or maybe ISO images or network from floppy disk. Also, we can able to install OS, right? So this is a generation 1, but generation 2 is not like that. Generation 2 support 64-bit OSs, 64-bit OSs. Okay, UEFI firmware supported operating system. Firmware, guys, this is not a fireware. Firmware, this is the correct spelling. By accidentally I typed wrongly. Okay, firmware, this is correct. This is wrong, not fireware. Fireware is a different. Okay, firmware. So UFI based supporting operating systems, 64-bit operating systems, it is support. In generally Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10, 2012, 2012 or 2 onwards, it works in that one. And there is we are not tested how to install operating system of Linux 64-bit with the UEFI facility kind of stuff. So we don't get a choice nowadays. So to test it. Okay. So we can install operating system from ISO image or a network based installations only in a generation 2. So Hyper-V generation 1 and generation 2. And also when we are creating a virtual machine, it is asking dynamic memory, means startup memory and dynamic memory is there. Startup memory and dynamic memory. Startup memory means when you start your virtual machine, so like for example 1 GB for startup memory. To start when you start a virtual machine, it utilize 1 GB RAM only. Okay, once it is completed, starting means booting is completed, everything completed. It does not require 1 GB, it required only 500 MB. It utilized 500 only. It required 600 MB, it utilized 600 MB only. You're running something in it. So you're running some application in the virtual machine. It required, for example, it required 2 GB or 1.2 GB or 1.5 GB. It expands more than it. So that is called a dynamic memory. Okay, startup memory means when you start a virtual machine, that time how much RAM memory you are giving, that much only it will consume. That is called a startup memory. Dynamic memory means depends upon the virtual machine requirement, it expands or collapses the memory allocation from the physical RAM. Next, in a Hyper-V switches, guys, again, this Hyper-V switches comes under network virtualization, comes under network virtualizations. Okay, so both are covered here. So that's why I told this one, and also I told about a NIC teaming. Okay, look at here. So external switch, internal switch, private switch. So last time I explained everything, but people are missing some points or maybe not in the line. So that's why I'm telling now. That's the only thing. Okay. External. What is a external switch? What is a external switch means? To communicate from your virtual machine to virtual machine to physical machine. Okay. And virtual machine to physical network. Physical network you want to communicate. So we use external switch. Usually external switches are bind your physical NIC to virtual switches. Okay, it binds physical NIC to your virtual switches. That is the external switches. So we use external switches to communicate physical network from virtual machines. Internal switches are you create a virtual machine that you can okay spelling mistakes. Yeah. So when I type, I don't see any spelling mistakes. Okay, no problem. Okay, so usually for communication between virtual machines and communication between virtual machine to physical machine, you cannot communicate to physical network. Private switches completely in the private only. One virtual machine to another virtual machine communication, and one virtual machine to physical communication is not there, but virtual to virtual communication only. Virtual to physical network or a physical computer communication is not there in a private. It is keep it in a private. So these three modes are there. Guys, same. It is almost similar like if you go to the VMware. Okay, in a VMware host only means it's a completely private network type. It is completely like a private or a internal network. Host only is a private or a internal network type only. Okay. Next, NAT is there. NAT type of kind of stuff is there. It means VMware application works like a NAT translations. Like outside network is a different logical IP address. Internal virtual machines are having a different logical address, but still they can able to communicate each other. Okay, inside to outside, outside to inside communication is there. So using a NAT communications. In a VMware also there is a bridging like a external switches. Okay, if you compare external means is like a VMnet zeros bridge connections of virtual machines. Okay, so that kind of stuff. The guys names is are a different, concept is same only. Virtual NICs like a VMnet 0, VMnet 1 kind of stuff, or we call it a virtual NICs are there. Virtual switches, okay, virtual switches are there. Virtual routers are there. Normally, when we are discussing about devices in the network, is a bridges is also there, right? So bridge is physical device is there, and just a simple a command is there. Bridging is very simple, bridging between one NIC to another NIC. It is a virtual bridges also available. Okay, software wise, software defined bridges. Okay, software defined routers, software defined switches is also there. Routing also possible with this kind of stuff. Okay, guys, this our networking concept is also very important. Even though people think it is virtualization, people are very less kind of stuff. People having a mind about virtualization is a very less small mind about it, but still without learning a networking basics, guys, networking basics, networking virtualization and networking concepts and network virtualization environments. Okay, physical hardware means hardware basics. These are very important even though you go to the cloud computing. A lot of people start learning, jump into the cloud related one. But they are feeling a lot of struggle in that one. So only they stick to the application. But concepts too are very important for administrating the cloud related. Without understanding how router works, um, that's the basic things. Okay, so you will become very much faster if you're understanding how router works. Okay, in another virtualization, guys, virtualization does not mean virtual direct existing. Also, virtually how you doing it. So like that. Okay, here it is. NIC teaming is also comes under virtualization, network virtualization. Okay, so an NIC teaming is not the part of Hyper-V, but still NIC teaming is also comes under network virtualization. It is one of the part of your Windows servers and other servers technologies also. What is NIC teaming is it's a combining of two or more physical NICs and create a one single logical team. And we assign an IP address to the team directly. So you can communicate with that IP address like that. Okay, all NICs are connected to the switches for communicating purpose. If any one of the NIC is down, no problem, still we can able to communicate. So that is called a failover. And also to balance the load in between the NICs, it balance the loads. If you configure like that, that is a load balancer. I configured and I showed as a failover. So one NIC is active, another NIC is a standby. If one NIC is down, active NICs are down, no problem. Standby NIC will make a communication. So this is also called as high available services are 100% downtime. Guys, always in the net services, we have to remember few things. One is whether it is a network is down, whether server is down, any physical like a disk is down, anything is happened to your infrastructure, but service should not be down. So 100% uptime service is very important. Nowadays, if you see a lot of services are available, so most of the services never down in generally. So why? Because of there are configuring failovers and load balancer and cloud related services. That so infrastructure maintenance compulsory. You have to this one. This is the if you want to keep your infrastructure and company alive and run properly, you want 100% uptime. Compulsory you have to configure high available. Some places people call this kind of stuff as a failover. Some places people call this as a high available. Whatsoever it is, if a server is down, but still service will be available because of one server is down, other server will provide a service. One disk is down, no problem, other disk will provide a service. So that is this one. And yeah, these points I forget in a virtual hard disk time. So in some places for dynamically expanding, so some people call that one as a thin provisioning. Thin provisioning. Thin provisioning means it is a dynamically expanding disk only. Okay. So you want to create a thin provision kind of stuff. Okay. There is a lot of different type of words are there. So compulsory when you are doing it, understand what is the meaning of it. Okay. So this is about what we are discussed earlier. Anybody having any doubts or any problem, please tell. So compulsory, what is virtualization? Types of virtualizations. What is virtualization? Types of virtualization. Benefits. Benefits of virtualization. And one by one, what is server virtualization? What is server virtualization? Like that, each virtualization, what is it? What is it? What is it? Different type of hypervisors. What is the network virtualization? What is there inside? Just list out once. Okay, list out once. If any chance of interview, any interview also you can, it is better, and also in a work environment. If you understand one type of virtualization, you can understand a lot of other virtualization kind of stuff. Okay, guys, last one. Yeah, I will tell about presentation virtualization kind of stuff now after a small break. Okay, so take a 10 minutes break only, and then I will tell about all other type of virtualization in one shot. Then I will show you once again vSphere and network related kind of stuff. Okay, take 10 minutes break. Back at 11:30.